Let's talk about Mandy Rose and the news surrounding her. Yesterday, as we speak right now, on Wednesday, announced around noon Eastern Time that she is no longer with WWE. Came out from Fightful, and we have minimal details as of right now. Brian Alvarez, I know, spoke a little bit more in detail about it on Wrestling Observer Live a little bit later on in the day, adding some context to the situation, but not a lot. That she was released less than 24 hours removed from losing the NXT Women's Championship, which she had held for well over a year, since October of 2021, having this great run, losing it to Roxanne Perez, a bit of a rush moment. Well, we'll get into the NXT stuff a little bit later on, but she is the top trending topic right now. So she was let go, reportedly due to the fact that she has this paid subscription service online. It wasn't said that, listen, I'm drawing my own conclusions as you are, that either they didn't feel it was appropriate enough, or I don't know what their line is for nudity. This wasn't just some regular Instagram post. It was I say heavily paid subscription service. You have to pay a lot of money in order to sign up for the stuff that reportedly she was fired for. I think some people thought that she got fired because it was leaked. Obviously, that wasn't her fault. I don't believe that to be the case at all. My understanding is that they were aware of the page beforehand, and they knew about it. They probably either told her to take it down or tone it down or whatever. She probably was adamant about keeping it going because she wants to make money off the shit that she was doing. And again, I mean, I'm not going to get into specifics here. We both, I've seen some of the stuff that she was posting. I haven't seen all of it. I've only heard about it and seen some of the videos that she was posting specifically. And honestly, I'm still of the mindset that I was yesterday. I completely understand why they let go of her. There's also the case of double standards. There's a case of the Playboy stuff isn't really relevant. That was fucking 15, 20 years ago, different time. And it also comes down to WWE not getting a cut of it, too. I know Triple H is allowing, the third-party subscription services now. And, with Twitch and whatever, they're much more lenient with that now than they were 2 or 3 years ago. But at the same time, though, they're probably getting a cut of a little bit of the cut of these people's Twitch or whatever, their extra income on the side. If they're not, then cool. But I would assume WWE was also probably upset that they weren't getting a cut of the bag here from Mandy Rose for all the money she was making on this subscription service. So again, that's kind of like the bare bones of it. But they let her go on Tuesday or on Wednesday, I would assume, after she lost the championship. And that was it. So let's get into it, Mr. Marceau. What are your whole thoughts on the situation? Now, we spoke privately about it right before we hit record here, but just to kind of put it on the air, what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I was fucking stunned. I mean, I saw the accusations or kind of the reporting of there was a leak on Wednesday morning. I saw that. So then they're like, oh, she might be losing the belt. And then someone said that she's going to go to Raw, going to SmackDown. So I'm like, oh, okay, no big deal, whatever. It is what it is. And then literally she loses the belt. I'm on Twitter yesterday, and then literally says she's released. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then, I understand. It's just tough because I feel like there's still so many big details that we don't know. Did they tell her to take it down? She's like, no, I'm not gonna. So then at that point, they're like, okay, we're just gonna let you go. Or was it just based on the nudity or whatever was on there? So I think there's still a couple of questions that we have. I mean, I think it's tough. I mean, it's tough because I feel like there is such a double standard. We always are around here talking for her, it's okay, she was posting things that they said not to do. She still did it, but it's no different than they probably have a thing that says don't get DUIs or do drugs, and plenty of people have been in trouble for wellness policy as well as getting DUIs and stuff like that. I mean, I think if anything, it should have been take this down or we're going to suspend you. Even that, maybe if she got suspended and maybe she would have thought twice about it. But, I mean, the outright firing, I still don't think it's right. I mean, even if they said take it down, she didn't do it, I still think a suspension would have been first, then fire. But, like you said, kind of privately, I guess, this is the most popular, I guess she will be with this platform because obviously now everyone knows about it. I mean, from what I saw, it's basically her Instagram account. You would have to pay, a lot of money to get anything more than that. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I just think if she was given the opportunity, yes, this, like you said, we talked about, this is the most popular she's going to be just because it's in the news, but I don't know, it's just also her biggest run right now in the wrestling business, so I figured, why would you want to mess that up? You're as big as you're going to get, but then there's also that catch-22 of this is also probably the most popular this page will ever get, so I think she had a great run in NXT. I hope maybe they can figure something out and she'll go back to WWE because I feel like it hurts it's not going to really hurt her because she's making a ton of money, like they've said on this thing. Like, it's not like she's going to lose out on the money, but because she's making more money doing this anyways. But if anything, it kills the other two girls in Toxic Attraction. I think they're both great, but I mean, they built the whole act around them with Mandy, and I mean, if she's not there, I mean, they're just not as interesting as they were before. I mean, they've also lost a lot lately, so I don't know if that kind of coincides as well. But I don't know. I thought main roster wise, they would definitely need her to kind of anyone to care. It's kind of like Hit Row without Swerve. Like, they need that big person for people to care.
Yeah, well, I think they're talented enough to get over on their own. The problem is that, to me, is that the main roster women's tag team division, and even NXT's women's tag team division, there's going to be a triple threat tag team match next week for the NXT women's tag team titles. You know what? Maybe they win. I think it's them. It's Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley, and then the current champions, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Nile and Paxley could win. I honestly think there's a very good chance either this was the original plan, or they're going to switch plans to put the belts on them, because, again, it's kind of like I don't want to say a charity case because that's not what this is. It's more of like, not a consolation prize either, but they feel bad for them. Then it also raises the question, if you put the belts back on them, this is strictly from a booking standpoint I'm looking at this as. What do you really do with them then? They've already been champions 2 or 3 times. They were champions for the better part of 2021, 2022. Again, what more do you really do with them at this point? I don't know. I think the main roster call-up is the next logical development for them, and it would have been if they were with Mandy Rose. And I feel bad for them more than anyone else. I don't feel bad for Mandy Rose. And again, we'll find out. We really don't know. And I can't sit here and say as a fact, this happened or that happened. But logically, I would find it very hard to believe. And WWE's done a lot of shady things. Even, I'm sure I'm sure it's changed a lot with Triple H being in charge. But that's not to say they're completely clean or they're in the right and everything and whatever. Not at all. It's a case-by-case basis. But it is very possible that they found out about it through the leak. I don't think so. I feel like they already knew about it because the subscription site's been up for a long time. I've heard people mention it before. I didn't know exactly what she was posting, but I know it's been around for a long time now. It's not an OnlyFans. It's a little bit more serious than that. You're paying a lot more money than that as well. I would find it hard to believe that they didn't know exactly what she was posting because they're kind of aware of pretty much everything is WWE. They're aware of everything you tweet and everything you post and all this other shit. They're kind of on board with all that sort of stuff. Yes, they're not getting a cut of it, so I'm sure that's part of the reason why they were also unhappy. That was part of the reason why Vince wanted everyone to give them like their passwords and shit for Twitch and all this other sort of stuff, YouTube and probably not YouTube, but Twitch and OnlyFans and whatever, because they weren't making any money off of it. Vince McMahon wanted more money than he was already making, so that I can understand as well. It's shitty. I can see that being a reason. I can understand people being mad at WWE for that. But the reason why they let her go, I think, is as simple as she was breaching the contract. I assume again, what is the line of how much nudity? Was she out there just posing full-on nude or doing like pornography and stuff? The answer is no. But I think it was racy enough for them to say, listen, we can't have this happen, paid or not. That was my thing. I know we spoke about it earlier. Paid or not. I know it's not out there for any 10-year-old to go look up and see who's watching NXT. But they have a deal with Mattel, the biggest toy company in the world. And it's a PG product now. The Playboy stuff doesn't stand. That was a completely different time. Also, WWE facilitated all that sort of stuff and also got money off of it, which is why they were also okay with it back in the day. Very different time. That doesn't even make any sense. These weren't things that Mandy had filmed for herself. I mean, she created the content she was putting out there. I can honestly see and understand why they let her go. And like I said, if this was I understand Brian Alvarez said she was surprised by the news, which may give us some context as to whether they gave her a warning or not. Maybe they didn't. But I would find it very hard to believe they saw this picture of her, that she posted posing nude, and they're like, you know what, we can't have this, let her go. If that happened, I do sympathize for her. But if it was more of an ultimatum like, listen, we can't have you posting this sort of stuff. And I also understand why they didn't suspend her either, because, the double standards with the wellness policy. You have a suspension tier there, like, oh, you get busted once, 30 days, twice, 60 days, blah, blah, blah. With Riddle, apparently this is his second failed drug test, but they say he's going to be back in 6 weeks, so I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But it's one of those things where, like, listen, if even if you suspend her and she still's not going to take it down, it doesn't really solve the problem. So you might as well just cut bait right away. So if she's making, I know you mentioned like this is the hottest she's ever going to be in terms of her wrestling career, then yeah, I agree. But at the same time, though, I think Brian Alvarez had noted this. She's making way more money off of that website than she is from her WWE deal. And we have to remember, even though she's in NXT, she's making main roster money. I think Mandy Rose has said this before in interviews, where she's still under a main roster contract. Because, yeah, she went from the main roster to NXT. I don't know if the same can be said for Apollo Crews and people like that who have gone back to NXT. I think Mandy Rose is still getting paid whatever she was getting paid before she left for NXT, which probably isn't all that much anyway, because it wasn't like she was a top star on SmackDown. So she's probably making more from that. She decided, listen, this is the hotter ticket. And like I said, and like you had mentioned, I think there's a very strong possibility that she will be back down the road. So I honestly don't really think it's a big deal, and it's a big bummer, don't get me wrong. And the whole situation is stupid that it had to come to this. But I think they felt like their hands were tied, and this is what they had to do to not save face, but they have to protect their brand. If you're a company, you don't want people posting this sort of stuff that she was. And again, we have to be specific with what exactly it was. Because if it's fucking Instagram shit and she's basically wearing what you see her wearing in NXT anyway, who gives a shit? I'm honestly, whatever. If you want to express yourself that way, whatever. If she wants to express herself the way that she was on this service, that's fine. But it also comes with the territory of like the company doesn't want that out there as part of their brand. They're a PG-rated product. And again, it also goes back to the whole independent contractor thing and whatever. I agree, that whole thing is bullshit, but it's nothing new. So I threw a lot at you there, Mr. Marceau, but those are my 2 cents on it as well.
No, I completely agree. I think, like I said, I just it sucks. I think the more the suspension thing was like, or like saying there's suspension because like maybe they said like there's something will happen. At least it's like a threat. And okay, you didn't take it down, we're gonna suspend you. And like you said, I think maybe the thing that surprised her, obviously we don't know yet, maybe they said, like, if you don't take this down, we're going to fire you. Maybe they seemed like more of like a empty threat, and then they're like, actually, you know what, we're going to fire you. And then that's why she was surprised, I guess, maybe. Well, obviously we don't know. But, yeah, I mean, it sucks. I think it's just, like I said, I think it just sucks, too, because she was doing the best work of her career. She was on NXT. She was champion for over a year. She was kind of revitalizing her career. A main roster run was literally on, like, I mean, the Royal Rumble's coming up. I wouldn't be surprised if she was slated to be in the Rumble, get called up with Toxic. I mean, I think that's what I think just sucks the most, because I feel like I understand she's making more money, but, like, at the same time, you've literally been wrestling for, I don't know, 5-10 years. This is literally what you've been working for. It just sucks. So I think she'll be back, so not that it really matters, but just in the whole scheme of thing, like, she could have been called up on the main roster, in the Royal Rumble, yada, yada, yada. I just feel like the timing was also just kind of shitty.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I think it was very likely that she would have been in the Women's Rumble and maybe even been at WrestleMania. I think SmackDown could have really used her. SmackDown's women's division is abysmal right now. Not for a lack of talent, but how they book a lot of those women is just awful. It's just not good. I don't know. It's night and day with Raw. Not that Raw's women's division is lighting the world on fire. Damage Control is just not a very well-booked stable either, but that women's division on SmackDown needs a lot of help. They just brought in Tegan Nox, and that's great and all, and they have Emma and whatever, and they just brought her back not too long ago, but they need a little bit more than that. That being said, though, with Mandy, again, like I said, I think she will be back. Whether this site thing dies down and they bring her back after that, or she decides to not do it, I think she'll go full throttle with it, which, listen, great for her. If she's standing by her beliefs and she's standing by this is what's making her money more than WWE, I respect the fuck out of her for that. I think that's fantastic. At the same time, though, it also comes down to dollars. It really just comes down to the whole money thing, too. Because
no, I completely agree with you. I don't want to sound like I'm like
no, I know.
I think if that's what she wants to do and make more money, I'm fine with that. I think that's good for her. I mean, hey, she's got what she's got, and it makes money, and it is. I just, like I said, I just think from the wrestling side, I don't know. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like if I want to be a football player, my whole life I want to be a football player. I'm about to make the NFL. And it's just like, oh, actually, I'm just going to do this instead. Yeah, you might be making more money. I don't know. Maybe it's just like for me, it's like if I put in all that time, like she did, she went back to NXT and kind of like revitalize her career. I feel like you'd want to like kind of see that out. And like I said, maybe go to the main roster. If it doesn't work out from there, okay, I'm going to go back to this thing that's making me a lot of money. It's not like that's going to change. Like she's still good looking. I mean, people are still going to find her attractive. She's still going to make money. I don't know. True. I guess that's where from,
but at the same time, though, to be fair, to play devil's advocate, she is putting a lot of work in whatever this service is as well, because it's not like, I know people will argue, and there's a lot of people out there shaming her for this whole thing. Listen, everyone's going to have their opinion. I'm not on that bandwagon personally. If she wants to do whatever the fuck she's doing with the OnlyFans, fan time stuff, she could do whatever the fuck she wants to do. What'd you say?
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, no, it's just, people are going to be like, I completely forgot what I was going to say, my point, but like, I don't know. If she wants to do whatever she wants to do, that's fine. Or what I was going to say was, as far as, like, she's also putting the work in whatever this service is, too. Again, I'm not subscribed myself, but I'm sure she's putting out a lot of fucking content that takes a lot of time and effort. She has to, people talk about that all the time. Am I an OnlyFans creator myself? No, but, like, I've seen people talk about it enough to where it's like, listen, they got to put a lot of time and effort into whatever they're doing to create this following, essentially, with what they're doing in OnlyFans and fan time and shit. So, I know with wrestling, yes, she's been doing that for longer. She was also in bodybuilding and modeling, I think, and I think I give her a lot of respect. I completely agree, though. As a fan, selfishly, I am bummed because I wanted to see her on the main roster, and I think she'll be back. I don't think this is because it's not like she went on this like racial tirade or whatever, and it's like her career's over, like a Tessa Blanchard or someone like that. Like that would be like, okay, that's a real bummer. She threw her career in the toilet. Like I said before, I think, dude, because her being gone, yeah, she was really hot in NXT as far as, like, her momentum, obviously, and I guess you could argue otherwise because she is very attractive. But I'm talking as far as, like, her being gone will make her that much bigger of a commodity if and when she comes back, whether it be a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, people will be clamoring for Mandy to come back. And no, to get it out of the way now, I don't think she's going to AEW. I don't think she's going anywhere else. Because I think that would be a little weird as well. Does AEW have a partnership with Mattel? No. I don't think anyone in the AEW roster is doing anything along the lines of what Mandy's doing right now. I'm sure people in AEW have OnlyFans and shit like that, but they're not putting out the same. There's a big difference. People have this. I saw a lot of tweets and people are like, oh, she should be able to do what she wants and wear what she wants. It's not like what she's posting on OnlyFans and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just people, you need to go out of your way, and it's a paid subscription service, so probably just sign up. You have to see the videos and the content that she was posting to get an idea. I'm not saying I'm right or whatever, but we spoke about it earlier. It's pretty serious stuff. Is she having sex on camera? No. Is she posing full on nude? No. So again, it's all subjective, I guess, as far as where they draw the line, where I draw the line, where you draw the line. Not that our opinions really matter on that, because I don't run a company. If they don't think it's appropriate, then whatever. And she was putting it out herself. It's not like she got leaked or she got hacked or whatever. People are like, oh, why didn't they get rid of Paige? Well, that's why, because it was hacked shit from years ago, so it was a big difference. But I don't know. There's a lot that can be said, but I saw a lot of people calling for WWE's head on this whole thing, and I can't really say I blame them, unless more details come out that paint them in another light.
No, I agree.
And there was another thing I was going to say on that, too, but as far as she goes and her main roster run, I agree with that, and it's just a bummer because she is really talented and she was having a great run and she will be missed. And again, maybe she'll be back soon. And I don't know, maybe they can come to an agreement. I just see it as the Lena Vega thing where she was also very adamant about having her services and whatever. And then she ended up coming back and maybe they agreed to let her have her services, but she never ended up posting again anyway on Twitch and OnlyFans and stuff like that. So it sucks. And hopefully she'll be back. And, the other thing too, with what I was going to say earlier with the money thing, this is the last point I'll make about it. The double standards, like you said, are 100% correct in certain respects. The Playboy shit, I don't think is an accurate fucking double standard.
That's the dumbest argument ever. People need to get off that one.
It doesn't make any sense. That was decades ago. It was orchestrated a whole lot differently. It was not a PG product back then. That's like saying, oh, Hulk Hogan got away with doing fucking crack in the 80s. Why can't they do it today? It makes no, because we have a fucking wellness policy in place. And again, to me, this is what I was going to say. It all comes down to the money. In the sense that, listen, I completely agree with you. The idea that they let the Usos get away with the DUIs as much as they do, but they come down hard and all this other shit, and no one's being put in harm, by the way. Mandy Rose is not harming anyone with what she's doing. The Usos, or Jeff Hardy while he was there, could have very easily fucking killed someone while they were on the road. And if they killed someone, they probably would not be working there. But because they're not, it's like, okay, it's fine. And WWE always puts out that statement. They're in control of their own actions. They're responsible for their own actions. It's like, that's such fucking bullshit. Like, you're letting them get away with it because they still work for you. And you're not really punishing them at all. They're not getting... I think sometimes they've gotten suspended. The Usos haven't, but I remember in the past when Cameron and Alex Riley and people like that, 10 years ago got suspended because they also were, they got DUIs. The Usos are on another level, so it's okay because they're immune to it, which is so fucking dumb. But the biggest difference is because, especially since they didn't kill anyone on the road, WWE isn't losing money from that. If someone does drugs and gets suspended for the wellness policy like a Riddle, like a Matt Riddle, for example, WWE is not losing money from that. Are they losing money because Riddle's not on the show? Yeah, maybe a few, $100 or whatever, maybe, I don't know, because he's not being advertised for the show he was supposed to be on. My point is that I could see why WWE comes down on it. I don't agree with it, but they come down on this shit specifically because the shit that she was posting that got out there, that she was already posting anyway, it's costing them money because they're in a partnership with a toy company that doesn't allow for this sort of stuff, and it all comes back to the money. Honestly, if they didn't have a deal with Mattel and they were a PG-14 rated product, I agree with you. She probably would still be on the show, or it wouldn't be an issue, or they wouldn't give a shit. It might be a different story in AEW, but because it's WWE and they're losing, Mattel might threaten to pull out because this woman's posting not nudity, but close to nudity on her shit, paid or not. That's really what it comes down to. And it's a shame. I think it's fucking bullshit because the Usos could have killed someone and it's like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, you're still tag team champion. Like, it's very fucking dumb. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I just hope the whole thing will blow over and she'll be back soon, but I guess time will tell, right?
Yeah, we'll see.